Can't hold it back, it's coming down. Burning boats on desperate ground. Hold me back, it's coming down. Broken pots, waterfalls around.
My name is Ginger Winn. My name is Ginger, and I'm a songwriter, producer, artist, multi-instrumentalist. I'm from South Carolina. That's where I grew up, and I've been living the past 2.5 years in South Africa as a producer, working remotely, and I'm 24. What inspires me? I think that experiences inspire me when I'm writing. Like if I experience something in life, whether it's good or bad, usually it's bad. That's what inspires me the most, as with most songwriters. I get really inspired with other people's stuff. Like if someone sends me really, like, not bad, but like really unfinished pieces of a song, like a really bad melody or like a crappy recording on their phone, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I want to put this into a song and make it finished. Like I love finishing songs. Yeah. One of the first few clients I had was this woman named Tina, and she needed someone to turn her husband's poetry into a song. So I did, and she really liked it. Eventually, she had her husband Matthew reach out to me, and Matthew, so for the next 2.5 years, or 2 years or so, however long it was, Matthew would be sending me poems, and I would be turning his poems into a song. And as time passed, eventually he was like, let's make an album, and I'm like, okay, awesome, like sounds great. So we had a video call, and then after I met Tina and Matthew on call, then at some point we had a video call with me and Matthew and David Barron. And I was like, when I was on the call, I was like, oh my God, like I'm literally speaking to David Barron. I was like, this is David Barron, like he knows people. He's like been in the same room with the Lumineers. Like it was overwhelming. But at that point I was like, okay, well this is really happening. I should probably take it more serious. And then, long story short, I got on a plane. I flew to New York City first, my first time really in New York City. And we've just, that was at the end of February, and it's just been an overwhelming amount of stuff happening since then. And it's, you know, April, middle of April, end of April right now. And I woke up yesterday and I was like, we made the album with David Barron in March. Like that just happened. And it still feels very unreal to me, all of it.
I needed to go, can't hold it back. It's coming down, burning boats on desperate ground. Can't hold me back, it's coming down. Road breaking pots, waterfalls loud.
Even from the beginning, Matthew was one of my favorite clients because he's just so easy to work with. So much positivity has been going around working with him. And he's a great writer. He's a poet, and you can see as we work together more and more, his poetry is turning more into song lyrics. He's even told me he's thinking more about melodies and stuff when he's writing, and like the percussiveness of how things will be sung and whatnot. But yeah, he's just such a go-getter. So it's nice to have someone who's so positive and who's so inspiring to work with all the time. So the other day, me and Matthew were, he was like playing with his two boys by the creek. There's a beautiful creek at Woodstock Way, and there's a huge waterfall. And I was standing next to Matthew, and like we were all throwing rocks and like playing with the rocks in the water. And he had told me that he, you know, was working on a song about like a waterfall and stuff. And I was like, okay, awesome. And I immediately like, you know, huddled to the other side of the river, the creek, sitting right next to the waterfall. And I was sitting there, you know, I like to write about what's going on in my life, and I was sort of feeling a lot at the moment. And I didn't really ask myself any questions. It just sort of like the idea came to me. I was like, every piece of advice, because I've been talking to a lot of people recently about what's going on in my life, and I was like, every piece of advice that I've gotten is almost like a drop of water. And I've gotten a lot of advice, and so it almost feels like with all these drops of water, with all these pieces of advice, it's like a waterfall is happening, and I feel much more clear. I feel clear to make decisions, and that's sort of the concept I've come up with.
Waterfalls come through my walls, rushing over my soul. Waterfall, it slowly crawls. How did you get so?
I am trying to execute it in the song and make it make sense, but still be singable and beautiful sounding lyrically. But that song would not have happened if we weren't staying at the Woodstock Way, because me and Matthew are both inspired by the beautiful waterfall that I can almost see while I'm sitting here. But it's just so magical staying at the Woodstock Way. Every morning, we, like, a couple people of us, we meet up at the front desk and get coffees and stuff, and it's right in town, so we walk around, we can walk to restaurants and stuff together, and everyone's really close to each other, so it's almost like, feels like a campground while we're all here, which I used to love when I was a kid. But yeah, the song really is because we were staying at the Woodstock Way, and I'm just grateful that, like, we were both feeling inspired by the waterfall, and at the same time we were staying here together, and it just, I think it's the first song we've ever written in person together, which is incredible because we've been working together for 2.5 years now. That's really funny. So yeah, it's the first song we've written in person, happened here at Woodstock Way.
Take me where I always knew that I needed to go. Dun, 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 dun. Take me where I